Hello everybody, Tyrone the Guy 3 here, and welcome to Pokemon X and Y Anime Reviews. Today we will be reviewing episode 77. This episode is titled The Pokemon Sky Rally Challenge. Fly, Noibat! In this episode, a lot of good moments. I unfortunately did not get to do the commentary with Dean and KG. However, I will put the link in the description below. They did some really good job commentating over this episode. It was some nice moments. This episode was really good. I watched it real quick before I had to jump to work. That's why the review's coming in very late because I came back and But no need to go into all this detail. We'll just get into that plot summary, how I feel about it, and you all will be satisfied, hopefully. Anyway, on with the plot summary. The episode begins with Noibat receiving flying training from Hawlucha and Fletchinder. And I gotta say, well, I like that Hawlucha is training Noibat to fly as well as Fletchinder. Hawlucha and Noibat's relationship is clearly obvious. Fletchinder's more or less like the older, I'd say Fletchinder's more or less like the other brother that just happens to be older as well, teaching Noibat how to fly. But I gotta say, Fletchinder's come a long way. Fletchinder's come a long way from from when before it got captured and it was still a fletchling stealing berries and laughing at our heroes, and then all the way from that to evolving into Fletchinder. And he's come a long way. Fletchinder has come a very long way. I really like the progression of Fletchinder and what it's gone through. I gotta say, Fletchinder is probably one of my favorite of Ash's Pokemon so far. It's definitely taken like Ash's bird Pokemon and changed the game so that his bird Pokemon isn't disrespected. Although most of his team is bird right now, well, flying type, but still. And I think this episode really reflects on that. But anyway, continuing with the summary. Fletchinder and Hawlucha are teaching Noibat how to fly, and Ash and our heroes just happen to show up in an area where they're actually having a Sky Rally competition, and they meet up with this guy with a Noctowl, and I love Noctowl. He's my favorite flying type. They meet up with the Oasis. I think his name is Oasu or Oasisu. Oasu. Yeah, they meet up with him. And when they meet up with him, he basically explains that, hey, you guys are at the Sky Rally. This is where trainers get together with their flying type Pokemon and do a Sky Rally. And he introduces them to one guy who's been winning like almost every year. I think his name is Orion, or whatever. He basically has the whole Starly evolutionary line. And they figure Ash wants to enter the Sky Rally competition as a way to help Noibat learn how to fly. And they get explained the rules of the flight competition. And when they get explained the rules of the flight competition, Ash and gets his Pokemon ready and hyped and motivated in order to in order to get ready to fly in the competition. Team Rocket overhears this and they want in on the action too, so that they can win the competition as well. But they don't have any flying types, so they're going to use some method of cheating. I think any Pokemon that has the ability Levitate can enter as well, too, because I believe Punkable enters later. Anyway, since they all hear about the competition and they learn about the obstacle course and everything, basically after all of that said and done, the race begins the next day. And when the race begins the next day, it's a rally race, so they know that they have to pass it to each Pokemon. Since Ash happens to have just the right amount of Pokemon to enter, he'll be participating with Fletchinder, obviously, as the first Pokemon, Hawlucha as the second, and then Noibat will be the third. Because I believe the smaller Pokemon has to be the one that is the last Pokemon, I believe, because the Orion ends up using his Starly as last to even things out. So, with that all said, Fletchinder starts off with the rally at first, and the rest of the Pokemon are in. And I see a freaking Hydreigon in there as well, and that gets funnier later. When the race begins, Fletchinder's going ham. Like, he's just, blasting through it. I think Staravia is first, and then they just, dash through all of them. And then Hydreigon ends up crashing into a tree and knocks the other Pokemon down out of the competition. So all that's left is Team Rocket, Orion, and, Fletchinder. So then after that point, the Fletchinder passes the rally over to Hawlucha. Hawlucha ends up racing. Then Punkable passes the rally onward to Meowth. Meowth is in this Pelipper robot, and is using the Pelipper robot and is actually doing pretty well because it's got a jet booster, and he's basically cheating. And when Halucha and Staraptor are going head to head, they wind up running into the Pelipper robot, which knocks Halucha, of course, but Halucha ends up coming back and knocking the Pelipper robot, which destroys it. Meowth is exposed, and when Meowth is exposed, Meowth crashes and blows up, and that hits Team Rocket out of the race, and they're disqualified. So now it's just Staraptor and Halucha. Staraptor and Halucha both end up making it to the rally, so Noibat winds up getting the rally, and then Starly ends up getting the rally, and then those are the final two Pokemon in the race. And for a while, Noibat's actually doing pretty well. It's head-to-head against Starly, and then a gust of wind happens. When the gust of wind happens, Starly knows what to do and nosedives head forward. However, Noibat ends up getting knocked off course due to the gust of wind. It remembers what Halucha told it earlier ago in the episode to spread its wings and glide out the gust of wind. Noibat winds up doing that and finally gets to hold its own. So then after that, Noibat tries to close the gap between it and Starly, and Noibat actually does a really good job catching up to Starly, and Ash and the others all cheering Noibat on, and I really liked how they cheered Noibat on. Pokemon's starting to do this thing I really like in battles now, where instead of having that little side panel where it shows the trainer's face, which I still like that effect, but this effect is a lot more cooler and a lot better to look at and a lot more clean. Instead of showing those side panels where it shows the trainer's face on the corner of the screen, or doing that, instead this time they show a transparent, an opaque version of the trainer with an outer glow, and then they're in the area motivating or cheering the Pokemon on, or telling the Pokemon a command or something. They did it a lot in Clement and Ash's gym battle, I know that, and I think they did it in Ash versus Valerie, but don't quote me on that. I like that effect as opposed to the split screen side panel effect, because it looks a lot cleaner. And everybody got a chance to do it. Serena did it, Clement did it, Bonnie did it, Halucha and Fletchinder wound up doing it, which I thought was a really cool add-on, because those two were the ones that taught Noibat how to fly. And then Ash's was the most epic, because Ash was just like, EK! Which basically means let's go. And when he said it really loud, Noibat just bursted all of his energy and almost caught up to Noibat. I think it was actually ahead of, not Noibat, Starly. I think Noibat was actually ahead of Starly for a couple of seconds, but then Starly wound up closing that gap again, and Starly wound up winning. So yeah, Noibat lost. However, Noibat officially has learned how to fly as of this point, and Noibat has learned how to fly well. So there's no more episodes probably of Halucha and Fletchinder teaching Noibat how to fly, I think. I mean, there probably is still going to be some them bonding episodes, at least I hope. But I think Noibat's basically mastered flying at this point. So now it's just they train Noibat to know moves other than supersonic. So then after that's over, the Ash and his Pokemon come in second place. Orion still wins. I really don't know what to say about Orion, because the episode doesn't really focus on him a lot, other than he's the one that's been winning these past few years. And I guess the whole point was that even though Ash lost, and Noibat gets upset by it, even though Ash lost, he grew a lot more closer to his Pokemon, his flying Pokemon, because of it. And it was a really nice moment. I gotta say, when first going into this and seeing that Ash had so many flying types, I was very cringeworthy about it, because I'm really uncomfortable with having the same type multiple times on a team. But the way this is working out, it cancels out. They know what they're doing, at least, and they are commenting on the fact that Ash does have multiple flying types, and they're using it as a way to benefit rather than to harm them. Although I do worry about what's going to happen in that ice gym. Anyway, like I said, hopefully things are working out so far. It's an odd team for Ash to have, but at least they're comfortable with it. Each Pokemon gets its own development. All of the Pokemon are really interacting. It's this team makes me a little cringeworthy, but at the exact same time, this is probably the most family-like I've ever seen Ash's Pokemon towards each other. This is the first time I've really seen all of Ash's Pokemon act as a family. So I gotta say, yeah, with Ash having like 3 flying type Pokemon, but at the exact same time, Halucha and Fletchinder both are like parents, or at least older siblings to Noibat, and I really appreciate that attention to detail. It's really cool. It's really nice. I'm glad I got to see it. And yeah, that was the end of the episode. It was a really nice, heartwarming episode for a lot of fans. So, like, I would say it's kind of filler, but at the same time, Noibat masters flying at this point, so you can't really say it is filler. And I gotta say, this is a really nice conclusion to Noibat learning how to fly. So it's cool. It's probably the best way I've seen that they've ever introduced a baby Pokemon in general. Like Phanpy and Scraggy got some good time when they were hatched as Ash's baby Pokemon. And they did. It's just, I gotta say, this is a lot better to me. This just feels a lot better. They gave Noibat the treatment that, that Noibat deserves. And I really gotta say that, yeah, I'm welcoming Noibat on the team. Noibat has definitely made a staple as a team member on this team. And due to the fact that Team Rocket wants it, that pretty much confirms that it may evolve into Noivern. Hopefully it will. Hopefully Pokemon doesn't do that same crappy thing where it's like, oh, I got this baby Pokemon that hatched from an egg. Let me not evolve it until like super late game, Phanpy. Or let me not evolve it until like ever, Scraggy. Or just let me keep a Gibble and troll everybody. So, yeah, hopefully Noibat evolves into Noivern. Things are looking pretty good. I really liked this episode. Wasn't the super awesome ultra best episode, but it was a good episode. But I'm rambling. So, with that said, the next episode we will be reviewing is the Pikachu special. So you can get Pikachu with your Pikachu while you Pikachu. But yeah, I'm actually going to do that review probably later on this weekend. I want to say later on this weekend, or I'll probably try to do the recording tomorrow. It's going to be a short review because it's a special. However, I do really like this special. I went into this thinking, it's just a Pikachu fest, but it actually made me laugh a little bit, and there's several reasons why. So, yeah, I won't get into full plot detail like I did with this episode reviews like I normally do, but I will take the time to reflect and talk a lot about it because it was funny. So, with that said, everybody, thank you all for your support. Like I say in a lot of my videos now, because reach that 1,000 subscriber mark, hopefully gonna climb higher. I'll see you all then, everybody. Tyrone the God 3 out. Have a great day.